All right, welcome guys. We got 5 games to talk about. Kind of crazy day with the NBA trade deadline. Let me know what you guys thought of some of those trades. I was really hoping Lonzo Ball got traded because you guys know NAW, huge fan, and I also loaded up on some of his moments. So I was hoping for that one. That didn't work out, but yeah, some interesting trades for sure. I didn't expect a Vooch to the Bulls. That was kind of confusing me. I see him getting hate for being 1 minute late. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I do work full time, so just trying to get free content out there. Apologize for being 1 minute late. All right. Let's go back to the beginning of the day here and go over the news again. Well, there's a lot of trades here, but I'm not going to go over all the trades. Just want to talk about what really impacts us for tonight. So, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having a good Thursday. I think it's a pretty interesting 5-game slate. I think it's going to be a chalky slate for sure. But, okay, McGee was traded. Let's see. Magic are not on this slate, so that doesn't really matter. Trying to see what... Okay, so Alfred Payton is probable. Him and Quickly should split the point guard minutes. Reggie Bullock is ruled out. Let's see. Jimmy Butler got ruled out. Aaron Gordon traded, but again, I'm trying to see what else is stuff that impacts today. Appreciate it, guys. Okay, let's see. Nurkic, excited for him to be available tomorrow. A lot of kind of junky trades. Let's see. Okay, most of this stuff is for Friday, so bear with me as I scroll through this again. Jimmy Butler ruled out. Dragic ruled out. That's really the news that we were waiting for here. So the Heat have, I think it's 9 active players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is definitely a team you're going to want some exposure to against Portland. Great matchup here. So, yeah, Miami is, again, team you want at least a couple guys, I would say. Draymond Green is questionable. This is pretty significant. Keep an eye on this. If he misses, I'm curious to see who they end up starting. Maybe it's Juan Toscano-Anderson. Maybe it's Eric Pascal. Maybe they do something weird. You never know. I mean, they probably will do something weird. Like Draymond gets ruled out, and Steve Kerr will just throw a curveball at us and just start the most random person ever that no one is expecting. And that's really it. We got the Wizards starters with Westbrook, Beal, Matthews, Rui, and Len. Let's refresh. And again, Lonzo questionable. All right, so let's go over the Vegas odds here. Portland and Miami, it's a 217 over under. Portland are 2.5-point favorites. Wizards and Knicks, a 224.5 over under. The Knicks are 3-point favorites. Clippers and Spurs, a 221.5 over under. Clippers are 6-point favorites. Warriors and Kings, a 226.5 over under. The Kings are 2.5-point favorites, and 76ers, Lakers, a 215.5 over under. The 76ers are 6-point favorites. So let's start it off with Portland and Miami. So Portland side, the top 3 guys, Lillard, CJ, and Cantor, I think are all viable plays. I would say no priorities, though, for me with the main guys. So Lillard, again, the $10K price with CJ back feels a little bit too much. I'm not saying he can't pay off that salary, but he's definitely more of a contrarian play. Now, CJ's at a more doable price. We know the one thing we know is, again, Miami is going to be a team that is popular today. So if you want to bring back, I'm fine going to CJ. Like, I think I would rather play CJ than Lillard for the $3K discount. CJ shot 5 of 19 last game, which obviously not great, but he's a guy that does have some upside for sure. So I do have some interest in CJ. I think more of a contrarian play. Cantor at 6'6", played 39 minutes the last game. They are thin up front, right? They're also missing, and they traded Gary Trent Jr. Again, Nurkic is returning tomorrow. So I think Cantor plays over 30 minutes in this game. If that's the case, I think he's a pretty good play in the mid-range. So we know, again, he's a pretty solid point per and a guy, even though it's not necessarily the best matchup. And then, with Gary Trent Jr. being out, you would think that's not a huge deal, but it is, because Portland basically runs an 8-man rotation. So, I think Derrick Jones Jr. is actually a value play that is pretty safe. I think he gets at least 30 minutes. It's a revenge game narrative. I know he's not the best point per minute guy, but hey, he's priced below 4K, and he's going to get minutes. With the other two wings, with Rocco and Covington, I would lean Rocco. He's going to play more. Again, he only played 25 the last game due to foul trouble, and this game was the blowout, so don't be super concerned. Previous games where the game stayed close, 36, 36, 37, and 39 minutes. So I do think Covington is also viable because he's a guy that can stuff his stat sheet, and again, the minutes will be there. As far as Melo goes, not saying he's out of play. Like, I think he plays a little bit more, but would rather get to Rocco for more, would rather get to Derrick Jones Jr. for less. And that's probably it for me for Portland. So let's move on to Miami. Again, team you're going to want some exposure to. Do we have the Miami starting lineup news yet? Let's see. Not yet, but okay. So again, great matchup here and missing a lot of players. So Kelly Olynyk traded, Avery Bradley traded, Jimmy Butler out, Dragic out, Opala out. Again, Harkless, I believe, got traded too. So they have 9 healthy bodies. So let's start with Bam Adebayo at the top. $8K, I think, is a pretty good price for him. He's going to do a lot more offensively with no Jimmy Butler. Great matchup, too. Enes Kanter is not a good defender. Like, Kanter's a good offensive player, but a terrible defender. So I do really like Bam here at the top. I think he's one of the better plays of the slate. And then Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, also, in my opinion, 2 of the best plays of the slate. Hero's a guy that probably plays at least 30 minutes. I assume he still comes off the bench, but he's going to be a playmaker for sure. So really do like Hero. Again, without Jimmy Butler, these guys just get a massive boost. And no Goran Dragic. So love Hero, love Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn played 35 minutes last game. I think we get similar minutes. So those two, I think, are 2 of the better plays of the slate. Duncan Robinson's role doesn't really change much. It's kind of like Joe Harris, right? When I always say if there's guys missing for Brooklyn, it's just his role doesn't change. Duncan Robinson is not a guy that's going to, drive the ball he's just a 3-point shooter. So he'll play 30 to 35 minutes. It's just a matter of does he hit a shot. So it's not really he's not out of play, but again, he doesn't really get a big boost with Jimmy and Goran Dragic being out. And the 2 value guys I have some interest in. First, Trevor Ariza. 3.1K. He's played 19 and 23 minutes the last couple games. Revenge game narrative if you're into that. But I think he probably starts this game with no Kelly Olynyk. Either way, I think he plays at least 25 minutes, and he's basically min-price. Ariza's not like a phenomenal point per minute guy, but he's a guy that can fill up a stat sheet. So I do like Trevor Ariza a good amount for value. I think Iguodala firmly in play as well. I think he probably plays mid-20s minutes. So both those like wings, Ariza, Iguodala, they're going to have to play big minutes. I like them both for value. The last 3 guys here are more contrarian plays for sure. Now, Precious Achiuwa at the min price, I would say probably plays the backup 5. I don't think he'll play the 4 alongside Bam. We'll see. Again, I'm guessing it's going to be probably Ariza that moves into the starting lineup at the 4 with no Kelly Olynyk, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. If Precious does not start, then he's not out of play, but more just a GPP dart throw. Gabe Vincent at the flat min price as well. I would think we get around 20-ish minutes from him. Now, I would just rather get to Nunn and Hero for a couple extra $1,000. I'm not saying Gabe Vincent can't have a good game. Again, more contrarian, and I'm not really interested in Max Strus at the min price. He'll probably play, but not enough for me to consider him. So that's what we got there for Miami. Let's see. Do we have any more news here? Not yet. Okay. All right, so let's move on to Washington, New York. Real quick, though, guys, let's see where we're at. 300 viewers, 48 likes. If you guys do enjoy this content, hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. Thank you very much. If you're asking me if I'm still tilted about last night, the answer is yes. I still feel sick to my stomach from having basically the nuts and pivoting off it once Oladipo got rolled out. Oladipo, you owe me a lot of money, man. Just play yesterday. Just play, and I stick with the Hawks-King stack and win everything. I'm not going to get over that. That one's going to hurt for a while, guys. I did the recalculation, too. I would have won my $100 tournament, which was, I think, $5,000 up top. And then I would have finished in, like, the top 20 in the big turn. It hurts. It hurts. But all right, let's move on to Washington, New York. So Russell Westbrook's going to go overlooked in the slate. I think he's actually a really good GPP contrarian play. Hey, he played 29 minutes in a blowout. He shot 3 of 14, and he still put up 40 fantasy points. If this game stays close, Westbrook is going to play close to 40. I know, yeah, sure, the Knicks have been solid defensively. That doesn't really scare me off. I actually think Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite tournament plays, and I don't think he's going to be popular. Again, if you played him the last slate, you did get a little bit unlucky because if that game stays close, he's going for 50 plus easily, right? He had 40 in 29 minutes. So an extra 10 minutes, easily 50 plus. So I do like Westbrook as a contrarian, but I don't think he's a cash game play. I think there's more optimal plays, but hey, I think Westbrook is a really good GPP play that is going under the radar today. Brad Beal at 9.2. You guys know by now, I'm just, even with the $1,700 discount, I'm still going to prefer Westbrook. And it's just because, again, Westbrook is triple-double guy every single time he takes the court. Brad Beal, yes, at times he can fill up the stat sheet, but most of the time he is a little bit more reliant in the scoring, which makes him a little bit riskier. Rui Hachimura at 5.8. There's so many good plays in the mid-range, right? That it doesn't make sense for me to get to Rui. Alex, I just really it hurts. It hurts me inside every time I have to talk about these Wizards centers. It pains me. Again, it's my same analysis every time. Could play 10 minutes, could play 30. If he plays 30, he's going to have a really good game. If he plays 10, he'll completely bust your lineup. It's one or the other, right? It's either he kills your lineup or he wins you a ton of money. So, good tournament play. I have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. Now, I will say again, Mo Wagner got traded, so that's one less center. So it should only be him and Robin Lopez, unless they dust off like Isaac Bonga to play some 5. I don't think they'll do that. But yeah, I think so. I guess a little bit more confidence, but they could always just give Robert Lopez like 30 minutes. And we've seen that, even though he only played 7 the last game. Lopez is usually the guy that plays more consistent minutes. He's not as good of a point per minute guy, but we have so many good value plays kind of opening up already on the slate that's like, do I wanna take a dart throw on one of the Wizards centers? I don't know. I mean, you can for tournaments. I would stay away from cash games. Rule Neto, Denny Avdija. No. We don't have to do that in the slate. I'm moving on to the Knicks. So Julius Randle, I think is probably an optimal spot up in the slate. I do. So you're playing cash games. I think Randle's probably the guy you're going to want to look to. Going to play about 40 minutes. He checked back into the game up 25 in the fourth. Thibodeau is just insane. Again, fantastic matchup. A guy that has honestly triple-double upside, and he's going to play 40 minutes if the game stays close. So I think Randle's a really safe play at the top. Probably more of a cash game play. You can go there in tournaments as well. He's got upside, but I think he's one of the more I would say optimal spot ups in the slate. As far as the other players here on the Knicks, so Alfred Payton is probable. I think again him and Quickly probably split the point guard minutes. So last game Alf Payton played 21. Where's Quickly? Quickly played 12. Burks will get a little bit more run too now that Reggie Bullock is out. So I'm probably not going to get to either of the point guards. But yeah, RJ Barrett, Alec Burks are both in play here. There's a lot of good plays in the mid-range, so I would say neither are priorities. But hey, with RJ Barrett, 40-ish minutes, right? He's playing massive minutes. So viable because of minutes alone. And then Alec Burks should, I would say, get around 30 minutes. He's been a pretty solid point per minute guy. So the two wing guards there with Barrett and Burks are firmly in play because of the matchup. I'm probably going to stay away from the point guards. As far as the center rotation goes here, Mitchell Robinson intrigues me today. Played 31 minutes. Sure, he played maybe a little bit more because of the blowout. But, are they going to close with Noel? I think they probably want to close with Mitchell Robinson. So, maybe the plan is to play him close to 30 minutes. If that's the case, I could see him having a pretty good game against his Wizards front court. So, I do kind of like Mitchell Robinson there for tournaments. And that's probably it for me. I don't think I want to take a shot on any of the Knicks value just because again, the starters just play massive minutes. So, all right. Moving on to the Clippers and the Spurs. So Kawhi Leonard, Paul George are going to go both overlooked in my opinion on the slate. I think Kawhi is the safer option. Just a guy that's been more consistent than Paul George this year. Revenge game narrative. I think he's a good play at the top. Paul George, I like him for tournaments because he's priced below 8K. In a close game, again, the Spurs have been involved in some blowouts. In a close game, he's going to play 35-ish minutes, 35 plus. So, Noel just got ruled out. Wow. Okay, so let's go over to let's refresh this. Oh yeah, I missed that one. Okay, so that just came out. Let me circle back there. So, with Nerlens Noel out, Mitchell Robinson I think starts and I would say plays 30 minutes. I think at least 30 minutes. I do. Now, what that does do is I think Taj Gibson's back in the rotation. I think Taj Gibson plays the backup 5, and I would say around maybe 15 to 20 minutes. So if you need someone at like base of the flat min, you can use Taj, but I think I would rather get to those Heat wings over Taj. So, yeah, basically kind of it makes Mitchell Robinson now a safer option, assuming he starts, as long as he stays out of foul trouble. But Mitchell Robinson's actually been doing a better job of staying out of foul trouble. So, yeah, I think Mitchell Robinson now is a safer play on the slate. Kawhi out to, oh my, come on. Can never have it easy, huh? And there goes my best ball team. Was looking really good for this week. Sure enough, Kawhi Leonard out. Oh, I just got to take a deep breath. Why does that have to happen? All right, so, yeah, exactly. People freaking out. F my life. All right, so, good thing, I guess, that we're on the Clippers. With Kawhi Leonard now ruled out, Paul George is one of the best plays of the slate. He's going to be the clear number 1 on offense. Great matchup. Game should stay close. Love Paul George now. I have a hard time getting away from him. Again, I'm about to rearrange some stuff with my lineup now. I want to see what they do with the starting lineup, but Reggie Jackson now I think gets a pretty big boost. I know he hasn't been playing big minutes, but this is a game I can see him playing maybe 25 to 30, so I have some interest in Reggie. I think Marcus Morris probably pushes for over 30 minutes. Now, he's a good value play. Ivica Zubac, I think he doesn't really affect him, but he'll play probably over 30 minutes. Someone that is a decent play in the mid-range, a solid point per minute guy without Serge Ibaka. And then off the bench, I'm assuming, I would think Nick Batum starts for Kawhi. If Batum starts, I think we get probably at least 30 minutes. Not a great point per minute guy, but hey, he's definitely a value guy we can look to now. He was already someone I was considering, but now with Kawhi out, gets a pretty big boost. So I'm guessing the starting lineup is going to be Reggie, Paul George, Batum, Marcus Morris, and Zubac. So that's the starting 5. I think with Mann, Kennard coming out the bench, these guys are going to have to play big minutes now. Like, I think Mann plays at least 20 off the bench, definitely in play for value. And I think Kennard probably plays at least 20 minutes. So this Clippers team, you're going to want some exposure to now. Pretty similar to the Miami Heat. They're a little bit shorthanded. Again, no Lou Williams too, obviously. Got traded. So, yeah, you're going to want some Clippers exposure for sure. Is Marcus Morris questionable too? What? Is he? Did I miss that? Marcus Morris questionable too. Oh my God. What on earth is actually just what we needed after last slate, right? Just all okay. So, if Marcus Morris is out too, how many healthy bodies are they going to have? They might only have like 8 healthy bodies. Let's see. So Kawhi's out. Let's say Marcus Morris is out too. Paul George 1, Zubac 2, Reggie 3, Batum 4, Mann 5, Kennard 6. I think Oturo, Patterson, and Coffee would be round out 9. Like, I'm not really interested in Oturo, Patterson, or Coffee, but like I think they would have 9 bodies. Okay, so yeah, Clippers. Keep an eye on Marcus Morris news, but already Paul George. So Paul George recapping. I gotta go a little bit quick here, but Paul George really like secondary options all get a massive boost. So Marcus Morris, if he plays. If not, then we got Batum, we got Mann, we got Kennard, we got Reggie Jackson. You're going to want some Clippers exposure now with Miami. Let's move on to San Antonio really quick. Honestly, there's not much here. With all the value opening up and other teams being really shorthanded, how are you going to prioritize playing any Spurs in the slate? That's my question to you. The answer from me is no. I'm not prioritizing anyone. There's better plays in the slate. I'm honestly just completely crossing off the Spurs. I have no interest in anyone now. Philadelphia and the Lakers. So again, with this slate, with a lot of guys being out for Miami, a lot of guys being out for the Clippers, this is getting pretty clear on what you do, right? You play Miami, you play Clippers guys, and then you play the late game. That's pretty simple. So Now guys in other games are looking just kind of like secondary options. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris are not completely out of play. Neither priorities though. Again, they're viable. I will say Dwight Howard without Tony Bradley, assuming Dwight Howard starts, he's probably my favorite play on the 76ers. I think if he starts, he probably plays at least 25 to 30 minutes. Revenge game narrative should be able to have his way. So I do like Dwight there in the mid-range. Keep an eye on Green and Seth Curry. If they're both out, Shake Milton would be a guy I would look to there at 5-2. Like, even if those two guys are out, though, I don't know if I want to consider Korkmaz and Thibault. I think there's probably better values on the slate, but that's really it for the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Lakers side, honestly, there's not much here. Again, there's just other teams that look way better. So, Harrell, Kuzma, Schroeder are not out of play, but they're all secondary options on the slate. If the game stays close, I would say one of those guys has a pretty good game, but there's just better plays, better optimal plays in my opinion. THT, no. Markieff Morris, no. Wes Matthews, absolutely not. Marc Gasol, absolutely not. Caruso, now there's just better value on the slate, so there's no one really in the Lakers. Finish up with Golden State and Sacramento. So this is another game I think you're going to want some exposure to. Steph Curry out, Draymond questionable. If Draymond plays, I like him as a contrarian play. If he gets ruled in with like 30 minutes before lock, Draymond's going to be like 1% owned. So if he does play, there's pretty much going to be no limitations. It's a great matchup. I could see Draymond having a big game if he plays. Keep an eye on that. If he misses, I'm curious to see, but I'm curious to see who they start. I would say it's probably Toscano, Anderson, or Pascal. Whoever does start would be a good value play, so keep an eye on that. Wiggins and Oubre, just please come back, Steph Curry. These guys are in play because of the great matchup. They should play 35-ish minutes. Both players have been so up and down, though. Jordan Poole has actually been pretty consistent since entering the starting lineup, 34, 38, 39 minutes. A guy that's going to play big minutes, going to get a bunch of shot attempts up. So the main three guys, the Wiggins, Oubre, Poole, are all viable. I think Wiseman's actually a pretty good value play as well. I think we get 25 to 30 minutes, a good matchup, but not a priority for me on the slate. And the bench, no thank you. So again, just keep an eye on whoever, if Draymond's out, whoever starts for him, I would like for value. And it's really just those main guys plus Wiseman. Finally, Sacramento. So I'm still high on the Sacramento Kings just because, yes, there's Miami shorthanded. Yes, the Clippers are shorthanded. But basically the Kings are shorthanded because they run like an 7-8-man rotation every single game. So I do like the Kings still. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is one of the best spot-ups of the slate. He's going to play about 40 minutes in a great matchup. Love Fox. Holmes viable for tournaments. Every single time I play Holmes, automatic foul trouble. Every single time I fade him, goes for 60. I'm fading him tonight. You guys should play Holmes. He's going to smash and stay out of foul trouble. Buddy Hield, Barnes, secondary options, not out of play. They're going to play big minutes. Better optimal plays in the slate. Halliburton's still a guy I like because of the price. He can stuff the stat sheet. Going to play big minutes. Good matchup. I like Halliburton still. So Halliburton and Fox, the two guys I like the best. Holmes for tournaments. Bench, no. I'm just not doing it. Just not doing the bench. I think there's just better value plays. Like, yeah, if you think Holmes gets in foul trouble, you can take a shot in Whiteside for tournaments, but I'm probably just going to stay away from the bench. Like, I don't even know who they're going to use. Corey Joseph out, Bielitsa out. Like, Metu, I would say probably gets a little bit of run. Again, I don't think we have to go there. Like, Justin James, I think probably plays 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want to mess with the Kings bench guys, just like I don't want to mess with the Gold State bench guys. So that is it, guys. This has turned out to be a really crazy slate now with all this Clippers news coming out. Knicks are starting Peyton, Ntilikina, Barrett, Randall, and Robinson. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left for questions. Let's do it. Udonis Haslem lock, yeah. 354 viewers, guys, 75 likes. Can we reach 100 before the end of the show? Would be greatly appreciated. Oubre and Wiggins are both in play. I would say one of those guys is a good game. Both have been up and down, though, but Bam, Fox, or Tobias? Fox, but I'm pretty high on Bam and Fox today. Zubac, Dwight, or Wiseman. If Dwight Howard starts, I think it's Dwight for me. But Zubac is close. It's close because I think Zubac plays over 30 minutes. The Clippers are shorthanded, so I guess it'd be really close to Dwight and Zubac. But I guess right now what you could do is go Zubac, and if Dwight starts, maybe pivot to him just because the 76ers don't really have any other centers they can use. Fandle, Ray, Cantor, Dwight, Mitch. Again, if Dwight starts, I like him a lot there at that price. So probably him 1, Cantor 2, Mitch 3. Fox or George, both. Honestly, both. I guess if I had to pick one, it's George because he's cheaper. Ntilikina starting, no interest. Hero or Halliburton? Ooh. It's basic coin for me. I'll go Hero, but I like them both a lot in the mid range. Kennard or Iggy? If Marcus Morris is out, I think I lean Kennard. If Marcus Morris is out, I think I lean Kennard. Thoughts on Nunn, George, Ariza, Derek Jones Jr., Bam, Fox, Randall, Batum? I like it. FanDuel, Halliburton, or Hero? It's probably Hero, but I like both. Again, I like both a lot. Reggie or Nunn? Again, Reggie's now firmly in play too. I'll go Nunn. I'm still a little bit more confident with Nunn's minutes. No, I'm not prioritizing Mitch. I feel Simmons goes overlooked. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it with Ben Simmons. Like, I've liked him in a lot of spots, and he just continues to have pedestrian games. Now, could he have a big game against this Lakers defense? Is not great right now? Yeah, he could. There's better optimal plays, in my opinion. Poole or Halliburton. Halliburton for me, just because Halliburton does more of the peripherals. DeJounte or Poole? I'm not even considering DeJounte, so Poole. Love Dame for GPPs. Dame's going to go low-owned. Dame's going to be low-owned. I think Randall, if you're spending all the way up, it's Randall's the optimal play. Yeah, Poole or Halliburton. I'm going to go Halliburton just because he does more of the peripherals. Fox or Westbrook on DK. Fox for the discount. Russ, Paul George, Jones Jr., Batum, Mitch Rob, Nunn, Rocco, and Bam. I think it's a good GPP lineup. Robinson or Howard. It's going to be Dwight, assuming he starts. Now, you never know. The 76ers could do something weird. They've done weird things before. But, like, no Embiid and no Tony Bradley. They don't really have any other centers on this roster. I guess my one concern is Lakers can go small. Will Philly match it? But, like, yeah, it's him. Like, they can use Mike Scott as, like, an undersized 5. But if Dwight Howard starts, it's also a revenge game. I do have some interest there for sure. Ooh, Rocco or Burks? That's close. I'll go Rocco. Jones Jr., Batum, or Ariza. Ariza for the discount if he starts, I think. But all three are good values, I think. Thoughts on Nunn, Hero, Ariza, Randall, Bam, George, Marcus Morris, and Halliburton. A good lineup right there. How do you feel about Nunn, Halliburton, Ariza, Jones Jr., Bam? I like it as well. Or first financial software company. Kawhi. Yeah, Kawhi's out. Favorite spend up. Randall's an optimal spend up, I think. Westbrook to get contrarian. But you can honestly build a lineup with like no one, everyone below 9K if you want. 3 Heat and 3 Clippers. No, that's completely fine. Definitely you're going to want exposure to both teams, plus that late game in my opinion. Best center on the slate. Bam at the... so let's go to center. So Randall is the optimal play. Randall and Bam, I'd say, are optimal spend up. So those two at the top. There's a lot of good centers on this slate. Like, I have interest in Cantor because I think he plays big minutes. I think Zubac and Dwight are both good plays. Both, I think, if Dwight starts, plays, both should get over 30 minutes. You can go to Mitch Robinson, who I think goes overlooked. Again, he's a pretty solid point per minute guy in a good matchup. There's a lot of good centers. There are. It's tough. I have a super strong take. Halliburton or George? George for sure. Thoughts on Nunn, George, Ariza, Derek Jones Jr., Bam, Fox, Randall, Batum, and small field. I like it. Man or Kennard? I guess I got to see the Clippers starting line. I think both come off the bench. I mean, safety-wise, it might be Man. Man does more of the peripherals, where Kennard is a little bit more reliant in the scoring. Derek Jones Jr. or Ariza. It's basic coin flip. I guess. I mean, both teams are going to be really short-handed. I guess Ariza just because he's cheaper. Are you prioritizing Bam? He wouldn't be the first guy in, but I like him a lot. I like him a lot today. Oubre or Poole? The Warriors, I'm just a little bit uneasy feeling. It is a really good matchup, but it's so hard to trust them. Like, Oubre's been so bad besides that last game, but Poole is a little bit more reliant in the scoring. Poole for the upside, Oubre, I guess, for safety, as weird as that sounds. Harris or Oubre? It's Tobias Harris. It's Tobias Harris for sure. Small forward. I just realized, guys, I'm out of time. So last question. Sorry, I had to get out of here. Small forward, 5,300 and below. Okay, so you don't have much options here. Marcus Morris, if he plays. If not, then you got to leave some salary on the table or move something around. So again, like Derek Jones Jr. for value, Nick Batum for value, and those Miami wings like Iguodala, Ariza. That's where I look. So either you leave some salary on the table or you move something around. Again, keep an eye on Marcus Morris. But all right, refresh one more time. Make sure we are completely up to date, and then I'm going to call it, guys, because I got to go stream for Patreon. So Terrence Mann will start for the injured Kawhi Leonard. Okay, so Marcus Morris, game time decision. Terrence Mann is starting for Kawhi. I think Terrence Mann is a pretty safe value play. He's at 3.5. I think with him starting, plays at least mid-20s minutes. He's a guy that can get some peripheral stats. So I do like Terrence Mann for value now with him starting. But yeah, I still have interest in Batum, still have interest in Kennard off the bench, and keep an eye on Marcus Morris. So that is it, guys. Good luck to everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you all back here tomorrow on Friday.